The mini workshop will be delivered by Mark Steele, our technical officer, who joined Early Birds in 2019. The topic of the workshop is using presentation software. So over to you, Mark.
Good morning, everyone. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen, please? Perfect. So this morning I'm speaking to you as your tech officer. This is a role that I have been fulfilling for about 6 months now. And there are a few things that I've picked up along the way, particularly in the context of Toastmasters. So let's dive in, shall we? First and foremost, Zoom. Love it, hate it. There are definitely some mixed opinions out there about Zoom as a platform. What we all know is that it's absolutely skyrocketed in the last year, so much so that Apple themselves crowned it the app of the year and said it is where life happened in 2020. And whether it be Toastmasters meetings, whether it be social events, whether it be pub quizzes, every single social thing I went to in 2020 felt like it was on Zoom. And indeed, it's not just Zoom. If we look at another competing product, Microsoft Teams, that has absolutely exploded in the past year as well. Now it's 75 million people per day using that platform. But what's important to realize here is that this is a continuation of a trend that was already happening. And indeed, most reports are now looking that working from home is expected to double in 2021, and even following COVID, 74% of businesses are reporting that at least some of their employees will be permanently working from home in the future. Of course, big tech is leading the way. A lot of big American companies like Twitter, Facebook, for instance, have told people that they can work from home indefinitely from now on. So why does this matter? Why is it good, or why is it valuable to be proficient in online meetings? And really, it's that more meetings are going to be held online in future. This is not just a temporary aberration. This is something that in the long term, we're all going to be doing more of. And if we're going to be effective communicators, which is why we're all here at Toastmasters, in the future, we're all going to need to be proficient in this medium. So today I'm going to look at this in 3 different sections, starting with how to be a good participant in a Zoom Toastmasters Zoom meeting, some things for speakers to improve the transmission of your message to your audience, and then finally just a couple of things for looking at functionary roles within Toastmasters itself. So let's dive into the participant section. So first and foremost, for many of you, you won't be seeing me right now. And actually, there is a way within Zoom that is possible. So if you can't see me right now, there's 2 ways in which you can get to that. In the top right-hand corner of your screen, you should see a little button that says View. If you click that, you should be able to put side-by-side mode on. I'm going to give you all a second to do that now if you haven't got that set up already. Can see a few nodding heads, so I'm going to push on. I did mention at the top that I've posted a document, a PDF in the chat. It's this presentation plus a bunch of extra stuff that I don't have time to get through today. So if you're not keeping up, if you're not taking notes, don't worry, all that material is there for you in the chat box following this session. So moving on from here, another thing which I think is really useful is having a profile picture within Zoom. If you turn your video off, you might see in the gallery view today, we have a number of people with their video off and we don't see their faces, we just see their names. This doesn't create a very personal atmosphere, a very friendly atmosphere. A really easy thing to do is just add a profile picture. And if you have to turn your camera off, then at least we still see your smiling face. Oh. Mute you there, Bianca. So just a couple of sort of etiquette points, I guess. Toastmasters is a public speaking club. We're here to talk to each other. So please leave your camera on. We want to see your faces while we're speaking. And on that same point, avoid turning your camera on and off throughout when somebody's speaking. What this does is it basically rejuggles the gallery view. So there's a lot of movement. I've got a second screen, for instance. So if any of you turn your camera on and off, I'm seeing a lot of movement on this side, and that is distracting as a speaker. Furthermore, avoid excessive movement. Sometimes people get up, they walk around the room, they drink coffee. All of that is movement, which is best avoided. And please mute yourself when you're not speaking. It is disruptive when other people talk. Even pleasant things like people laughing can be distracting in this medium, particularly as Zoom will steal the focus away from the speaker and show you laughing for a few moments there. And finally, but not last, is please avoid using the chat feature while someone is speaking. It is, again, movement and it's a bit distracting. So we'll keep moving. I see him on the green already. There's an ideal setup here, and we've touched on a few of these points already. You should have a camera, and it should be at eye level. It was touched on already in this meeting, actually, but you should have a light in front of you to avoid casting yourself in silhouette. And you should have a microphone, which is either on your person or at least near to you. Some common mistakes that people make is having a bright light behind them. For instance, windows. This will cast you in silhouette. And really another one I see a lot is weird angles, particularly an angle looking up people's nostrils. Nobody wants to see that. There's a few other points there, but you can look at those in the PDF in your own time. So I wanted to touch on microphones. You will see that I've got this super cool headset. Appreciate it makes me look like a massive dork, but I think you can probably all hear me very well, and certainly I can hear you when you're speaking. Another option is what they call a lavalier microphone or a lapel microphone. Again, these are fairly cheap. You'll see them when people are talking on TV. Really, it's so important for you to be heard by your audience. Having a proper microphone is key to that. There is a way for you to test your audio within Zoom. I recommend that you try this. Again, there's some instructions in the PDF. Another thing is poor cameras. A lot of you have weird camera angles because it's on your laptop. Your laptop's not at the same level as your face. For 20 quid, you can buy a webcam that will sit on top of your monitor, which will allow you a more natural eye level. Couple of tips for functionaries. I think we've all seen the timekeeper, for instance, making a noise which gets filtered out by Zoom. You can enable something called original sound, which means that Zoom is not going to be doing that filtering. This is also something you want to do if you're making non-speech audio in your presentation, such as playing an instrument, banging the desk, anything like that. And another useful tip, I guess specifically for timekeepers, is you can share just the audio of your computer. So if you want to ring a bell, ring a gong, anything like that, actually you can do that straight through the computer by going to the advanced section within share screen. So I'm on red, but a few final thoughts before I conclude that online proficiency at online meetings is a skill, just like standing in front of a room of people. And that if you want to be seen and you want to be heard clearly, that this requires some forethought. And we're all looking forward to being back in the room. But this is an opportunity to practice an essential skill for future professionals. So I really invite you to take opportunity to use Zoom and get useful at this skill that we'll all be using more of in the future. Thank you.